we are going to do our first critiquing a classic video. I put up a post on Instagram to vote for the videos that you guys want to see, and somebody left this comment. So that means critiquing a classic number 1 is going to be about The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I've never actually read this book. Oscar Wilde's never really been one for me to read. I've never really thought about reading his books, so I'm kind of intrigued by this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the book and critique it for things like story, character, the kind of writing, a little bit more like the style and whether it's something that is easily readable, things like that. Paragraphs that I think are, or lines that I think are really good, things that don't make sense. Basically, I'm going to pick it apart. This book is 279 pages. I will comment that the inside flap says something about this being an updated version. So I'm not sure if that means that this is like a second edition kind of story. If there's something that I mentioned that was not in the original, please let me know in the comments, because I'd like to know the differences. It was published in 1890. Old books like this don't actually have blurbs, so I have to read a blurb. Wish me luck. And if you've ever read this book, let me know your comments or your thoughts in the comments. I almost said comments in the thoughts. What a mess I am. So, wish me luck. One of my first thoughts, just reading the first page, is Oscar Wilde liked to write run-on sentences. There's some that I had to read twice just to kind of understand what he was saying. Another thought is the characters' voices are kind of muddled. They don't really speak in a way that makes me kind of understand their personalities or anything, or like their voices. It's just kind of dialogue. There doesn't seem to be really any body language or specific twangs to their words or anything like that. I mean, it's only the second page, so obviously that could change, but that's my first impression of the characters so far. We've only met Lord Henry and Basil Hallward. That's a hard last name to pronounce. Hallward. Hallward. Huge deal. Okay, Lord Henry's voice is coming through a little bit better now. In the way that he's using certain words like old chaps, dear fellows, things like that. So it's coming through a little bit better. Lord Henry likes to talk, holy crap. Okay, so wait, his name is Lord Henry, but Basil says Harry. So is his name Harry Henry? That's confusing. That might be a typo. I call him Harry again. Aha, so in comes Dorian Gray in their conversation. Okay, so Dorian Gray is not the main character? That's the impression I'm getting now, that Dorian Gray is not the main character. I would think with a title like The Picture of Dorian Gray would be the main character. Okay, this paragraph helps me with Basil's personality a little bit. It says, when I like people immensely, I never tell their names to anyone. It is like surrendering a part of them. I have grown to love secrecy. It seems to be the one thing that can make modern life mysterious or marvelous. That's interesting. Makes me wonder if that's a little foreshadowing, maybe? Ooh. Ooh, Lord Henry, no. No. Bad. One charm of marriage is that it makes a life of deception absolutely necessary. Bad. I get that was kind of the thing back then. So it was something that readers probably could relate to, but ooh, that makes me cringe. So yeah, that doesn't make me like Lord Henry very much right now, but... And I think that's one of the issues of reading classics, is that stuff that back then was kind of commonplace makes us a little uncomfortable now. And then comes Basil with defending to not do that. Interesting. Makes me like him a little bit more. He keeps calling him Harry, though. I don't understand. I thought his name was Lord Henry. Is it Harry Henry? Or... I don't think it says. No, it says Lord Henry Wotton. But he's calling him Harry. I'm confused. Somebody gotta explain that to me, if there's an explanation for it. Or is it just a typo that they let get through? Because he's done it several times now, so... Okay. Interesting little thing here on page 15. Not what I think Oscar Wilde was intending, but there's a little bit of a gay slant on Basil's personality here. He's talking about seeing Dorian Gray for the first time, and he said, when our eyes met, I felt that I was growing pale. A curious sensation of terror came over me. I knew that I had come face to face with someone whose mere personality was so fascinating that if I allowed it to do so, it would absorb my whole nature, my whole soul, my very art itself. Is it just me reading too much into that? What do you guys think? One of the things I will say in Oscar Wilde's strengths is that though this was written in the past, he doesn't use a lot of words that books from that time tend to use. Most of the words in here I understand perfectly. There's one talking about somebody lionizing somebody. I kind of get it from the context, but I couldn't tell exactly what the word means. But for the most part, it's easy to read. So that's a big advantage, in my opinion, of this book, because some classics are very difficult to read because of using those big words. I think that's a plus. I like it when books make me laugh. Okay, seriously. I couldn't be happy if I didn't see him every day. He is absolutely necessary to me. I wonder if anybody has done like a homosexual version of this. Because this just, wow. I bet there's a murder in it. So I don't know, maybe not. Okay, chapter 1 is done. And I still think Basil was gay. I still think he was. It'd be interesting to find out, but unless somebody can invent a time machine, Oscar Wilde cannot tell us. After the first chapter, my thoughts are this. Oscar Wilde's writing is very descriptive. He's very good at showing things like the nature and the location and stuff, but he's not very good so far with body language and kind of stretching things out to show it to us rather than just have the character say it or, you know, have just a quick line of narration tell us about it. But otherwise, it's very, very descriptive. I'm intrigued to continue. I will say that, which is good because the first chapter is what's supposed to hook the reader. So I am hooked. I am interested in reading more. So we'll see how this goes. I'm in the middle of chapter 4. I thought I'd stop to get my thoughts a little bit before I kind of forget them. I still say this is a gay romance. I don't know if it was intended to be that, and I'm sure that's something I'll find out by the end, but I still say it's a gay romance because there's just so much innuendo in it. It's just ridiculous. One of the other things I will say about the first 3 chapters is there wasn't much background. There wasn't much like an opening scene and a setup that was just kind of thrown you into the story. On the one hand, that's good because there's not a lot of boring stuff in the beginning, although there was a lot of talking. So there wasn't, it was verging on boring. But on the other hand, I don't feel connected to the story because I wasn't brought into it. I was thrown into it. I mentioned in the last clip that I wasn't feeling the voices of the characters. I don't feel that way about Dorian. I do definitely, his personality and his voice definitely comes through, so that's good. I am not thrilled with the portrayal and thoughts of women in the book. Like here, Lord Henry says, "My dear boy, no woman is a genius. Women are a decorative sex." I know it's from the past, but who did that get me steamed? Absolutely steamed. In addition to me thinking it's a gay romance, I also think it's a love triangle gay romance. Because I believe both Basil and Lord Henry are in love with Dorian. I don't know if Oscar Wilde might have been and was closeted or didn't want to admit it. But it's definitely bringing forth those vibes for me. Which kind of makes me more interested in it, actually. Because otherwise, without those like innuendos and those little insertions of maybe, maybe not, I would be kind of bored, honestly. I would be kind of bored with the beginning of this book. I'm hoping it picks up later chapters. When it comes to the writing, one of the things I did notice that really bothered me, and please don't do this in your own writing, he switches point of view. In the beginning, it's kind of like not Basil and not Lord Henry's point of view. It's kind of just like both, which is fine. But then all of a sudden in one of the chapters, it switches to Dorian's and then switches back to one of the others. So that was a little confusing. I think for today, I'm going to finish up chapter 4, and maybe I have time for chapter 5. And then that's going to be it for today, and then we're going to see you guys in the next clip. I don't want this video to get too long, and it's already pretty long, so I'm probably not going to catch up with you guys until, you know, maybe chapter 11. Seems like a good place. So I will let you know how I feel after those few chapters. Bye.